Today I am diving into Death Must Die, an action roguelite infused with action RPG elements. At the time of this video, Death Must Die is still in early access and under active development. In classic roguelite fashion, Death Must Die pits you against hordes of enemies with the goal of surviving long enough to face each stage's bosses. Let's start with the graphics and art style. There's not much to say except that the game is beautiful. I love the character animations, the graphical effects of spells and abilities, the way dodging looks and feels, and the enemy designs, which there's a good amount of monster variety. The pixelated art style they went with is just perfect, and that's saying something coming from me, since I was never into the old school 8-bit or 9-bit games. What I mean to say is, even though there's no nostalgia factor for me, I still love how the game looks. The audio design is also great. The sound effects for attacks and spells are super satisfying, and I love those little sound effects that play whenever you level up or pick up coins. The voice acting, while limited, is solid. Overall, I have no complaints when it comes to the game's sound design. Good marks all around. Now, onto the most important part, the gameplay. Death Must Die features a variety of playable characters, each with their own playstyle and passive skill tree. They also have distinct personalities, which adds a nice touch. The knight is your typical lawfully good character, the assassin has that edgy teenage girl vibe, the ranger is a jacked, sexy dark elf, and the mage uses emojis while speaking. These might seem like small details, but they help give the game more personality and make it feel special. One unique feature in Death Must Die is its ability system, known as the blessings. The abilities are categorized into types like attack, dash, strike, cast, and more. These basically split the upgrades based on their behavior of each ability. So for example, if an ability modifies the behavior of your dash, then it is a dash ability. If the ability is cast every time of cooldown, then it is a cast ability. What makes this system interesting is how it shapes each character's playstyle. The mage, for instance, can equip more cast abilities, while the warrior can pick more strike. This approach not only diversifies and adds identity to the character, but also adds depth and enables build variety. What truly sets Death Must Die apart from other roguelites, like Vampire Survivors, is its ARPG influence. It is clear that the developers are drawing inspiration from games like Path of Exile and Diablo. Unlike traditional survivor-likes, you have direct control over your character's attacks, though you can enable auto-attack like I do. Call me lazy, but this is my preferred way to play the game. Dodging also plays a crucial role, making combat feel far more dynamic. The game introduces equipment items that provide stat boosts, and what's interesting is that you can swap gear, adding a layer of strategic depth. Compared to most roguelites, I found Death Must Die to be significantly more challenging, especially with any difficulty modifiers enabled. In many games of this genre, the best defense is a great offense, dodging everything and focusing purely on damage. Here, that's nearly impossible. You're going to be taking hits, and investing in survivability isn't just an option, it is a necessity. So far, this video has been mostly positive, but let's talk about the things I didn't like about Death Must Die. First off, the blessings often feel uninteresting and underwhelming. Let me break it down. You start a run, kill a few enemies, gather experience shards, and level up the usual. Each time you level up, the game randomly selects a god, and you're given 3 blessings from that god's pool. This process repeats until you've picked blessings from 3 different gods. After that, your choices are limited to those 3 gods, plus the fates, which mostly provide utility upgrades. Side note, I hate the fates, but I will talk about it later on. The problem is that most of the time, the strongest option is obvious, and a lot of abilities feel weak, while others feel useless or inefficient unless paired with specific synergies. Another issue for me is the loot system. If you know me, you know I'm not a fan of loot-heavy mechanics that most modern games adopt nowadays. The constant loop of picking up an item, opening up the inventory, reading its stats, comparing it to what I currently have equipped, checking the wiki because I forgot what a certain stat does. It just takes me out of the experience and kind of ruins my immersion. I get why most people enjoy it, but personally I find it tedious and I try to avoid it as much as I can afford to. Unfortunately, Death Must Die leans heavily into this system, and since power scaling is crucial to your success, especially as you keep progressing, it's something you can't ignore completely. What bothers me even more is that the best way to optimize your build is by swapping equipment mid-run. Ideally, what you'd currently do is have one set of gear that maximizes your luck-based stats to get the most out of your blessings, then swap to a more DPS focused set once you've locked in your build. This just adds an extra layer of micromanagement that I'd rather avoid and also limits your inventory space, forcing you to pick up fewer items. Finally, the stages feel too linear. What I mean by that is that they follow a mostly scripted sequence. Certain events always happen, like the swarm of slimes in the first stage that I am showcasing right now, and bosses spawn on a strict 8-minute timer. While this structure works, it makes each run feel a little bit too predictable and detracts from the game's replayability, an important element of any roguelite game. Now, I want to go over a few recommendations that I think would improve these aspects while leaning further into the action RPG elements that make Death Must Die unique. Let's quickly recap the main drawbacks: map linearity and scripted events, uninteresting and underwhelming upgrades offered on a level up, or as the game calls them, blessings, and an overcomplicated stat system that is mostly tied to loot. Starting from the last item of my list of drawbacks, for the stat system, I'd simplify things by merging some of the more specific bonuses that improve on the blessings into a general max stat that increases the chance of getting any rarity of blessing. I'd also remove the ability to swap equipment mid-run. You would only be able to change gear while in the hub world. That said, I wouldn't change the loot system too much. Even though it's not my thing, I know most people enjoy it, and it's an important part of the game's ARPG identity. As for the maps, instead of infinite auto-generated layouts, I'd prefer structured yet dynamic stages with clear borders and randomized elements to keep things fresh. Removing scripted events would also make each run feel less predictable and open up more viable build options. At last but not least, for the ability system, I'd completely remove the 3 god limit per run. I'd also scrap the fates as a separate god and instead integrate their utility upgrades into the existing god pools. Finally, for the synergy abilities, I'd change the way they're offered. Right now, you can be given an ability that deals extra damage to ruptured enemies before you even have a way to apply Rupture in the first place. For reference, Ruptures is this game's bleeding status effect. Instead, synergy abilities should only appear after you've already selected the trigger ability that enables them. That way, players aren't stuck with dead upgrades that don't work until they randomly get the right enabler later. I want to be clear, I think Death Must Die is a great game, and I'd easily recommend it to anyone who enjoys action roguelites. At the end of the day though, it's just not for me, at least in its current state, and I'd rather spend my time on other games in the genre. That said, with these recommendations in mind, I think Death Must Die could become an even better version of itself, while further emphasizing its unique action RPG twist on the action roguelite formula. Have you played Death Must Die? Do you agree or disagree with my takes? What's your opinion on the game? What do you think it does better than similar titles? And where do you think it falls short? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't tried it yet, give it a shot. It's pretty inexpensive, around €7 last time I checked, although I'm guessing the price will increase once the game is fully released. Even though I didn't fully sink my teeth into Death Must Die, I still got my money's worth and had a good time with it.